You are now listening to The World Within. The World Within. With your hosts, Christian and Ethan.
Hello, welcome to the World Within podcast with your hosts, Christian and Ethan. Thank you all for listening to us on Spotify and YouTube, giving us thumbs up, subscribing and everything. Deeply appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
So today's topic is going to be a good one. We're talking about the lost colony of Roanoke.
Yeah, so this is a very old, very old. It was 1587, I believe, is when this whole situation started.
The first major mystery in the United States, even before the United States were even a thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this was before people even thought about the United States.
Right.
This is just English people living somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know?
So this all kind of started May 8th, 1587. 120 settlers left England and set sail to go to Roanoke Island, which is now North Carolina. They arrived July 1587 with their governor being John White. And when they showed up to Roanoke Island, they ran into some trouble with the local natives there.
Yeah, who would have thought, you know?
Who would have thought you trying to take someone's land would piss them off?
It would suck to be on a boat for that long. It's just a wooden boat. It would be really rough.
Those people were just weird back then, though, so they might have had fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just had a roam with their pirate friends. I've seen Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I would love to be a part of that.
Well, yeah.
Johnny Depp, I don't think he existed back then, but hey.
He might have. You never know. He could be a vampire.
But anyways, so they were attacked by the natives almost immediately showing up, and like all the colonists were kind of freaking out, and they wanted John White to go back to England and get some supplies for them.
Yeah, so they wanted some more food, tools, and more people. Because, I mean, they were getting attacked probably on, like, the daily here. So
yeah,
having some people and maybe some weapons to protect yourselves would be useful. So John White, he was like, okay, I'll go back. So on August 25th, 1587, John White sailed back to England, leaving 115 of the settlers behind. There was 87 men, 17 women, and 11 children who he left behind.
That seems like a hardcore sausage fest, if you ask me.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of men there and not a lot of women.
Which makes you think that they could maybe hold their own since there wasn't a lot of women and children to kind of protect, you know?
Yeah, I mean, when you have 87 men, I mean, the question is, what's the role of these 17 women? I mean, it's 1587, so...
Yeah, and it doesn't really talk about how big the tribes were in Roanoke either. Like, how these attacks were. They don't really get into that.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta assume that they know the land and they can
even if there's
a lot of better and attack.
Right, they can have a plan.
You never know. Yeah, so he left all those people. One of them was his own daughter, who just gave birth to the first child born in North America to English parents, which
pretty
is
big. That's pretty big.
Big situation there. So he went to England. So when he got there, it was a few months because it takes a while to go on a wooden boat to all across the ocean there.
I wonder why he didn't take a plane. Maybe the plane tickets were a little hefty in price.
You never know. So he got there, and of course England was like, let's just go to war again.
That's England.
Just what you did.
Yeah, that's England.
So they went to war with Spain, and Spain's right there. They're right on the coast. They got quite a good navy. So when he got there, he was kind of stuck. Because he couldn't leave or he would be blown up by the Spaniards.
Yeah, so you kind of got to stick around to not die.
Yeah, so, I mean, the whole trip would have been pretty pointless if the Spanish just killed him on his way
Never
back.
came back.
So he waited it out. He waited 3 years before he started to head back to Roanoke to see his... I mean, I'm sure he was missing his family a bit.
Yeah.
For 3 years.
Yeah.
So he started coming back. And when he came back in 1590 is when he returned, and he found it completely empty. There was no one left. So he just came back, and all he found was the word Croatoan carved into a fence post and the word crow carved into a tree.
Which, how the hell can you interpret that? You know, like, he's been gone for 3 years. It's the classic, honey, I'm home with no one there. But instead of just his honey, it's 115 people gone.
Right,
With
just
no...
vanished.
Yeah, nothing there.
No signs of... Although I don't know how good of John White could have been an idiot. I mean,
he does have a boring ass name, John White. I would probably leave a guy named John White too. Like, there's better leaders out there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe maybe they wanted to go with maybe the Native Americans were just having a bunch of parties, and they're like, well, we better go check out what's happening.
Yeah, we got
there.
some nice beats going on over there.
They might have some crazy psychedelic drugs that they were like,
hey,
well,
fuck it.
John White's only got some tobacco. I mean,
yeah, it's a little boring. So he tried to sell to Croatoan Island, which makes sense. You know, there's a note says Croatoan, go to Croatoan Island. That's 50 miles south. So he wanted to search it, but he planned these 2 expeditions to go there, but there was storms and he didn't own the boat, so he stopped trying.
Why not just wait a few days? Wait for the storms to go away and then go.
Yeah, you're telling me their storms were so bad. Like, why couldn't you just wait it out? Like, what? Like, it's your wife, your child. Like, I mean,
what? I've never sailed a wooden boat in the 1590s.
Yeah, he was way smarter than us.
But so I'm not an expert on this, nor do I claim to be. But so what if the Croatoan could have just been a throw off? Because maybe everyone hated John White.
They could have all hated him.
I mean, if I was
I'm
getting
starting
attacked,
to hate
I'm
the guy.
I'm gonna be pretty pissed at my governor if I'm just getting attacked on the daily.
Yeah, and
he leaves me for 3 years.
3 years, yeah. I mean, 3 years is a long time. And
is he coming back?
It's the classic, honey, I'm going to get cigarettes, and just never shows up. So they might have just kind of went off on their own and were like, all right, fuck this guy.
Screwed. I mean, he's clearly not coming back. Because, I mean, there's no way he could have gotten any, letters out because, I mean, he was stuck.
Right. And then so he had 2 failed expeditions to Croatoan Island. So he's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going back to England. Went back to England, then moved to Ireland, and then he died in 1593.
Yeah, so he only lived for about 3 years after this whole situation.
So he waited it out in England, came back after 3 years. Everyone was gone. Some weird notes were on some posts and trees. Yeah, and he's like, whatever. I'm going back.
Yeah, there's no point. They're probably dead. He probably just assumed they were dead.
So there's a lot of theories out there. You want to dive into the first one?
Yeah, so one of the theories here is that I'd say it's probably the most likely that they were just killed by the natives. I mean, they were attacking on the daily, and you just lost probably your leader and probably 3 of the best other guys, or 4 of the best other guys.
Yeah, but the big problem with that is you would think if they were being attacked daily, there'd be signs of struggle or blood on the walls or stuff stolen, and none of that was the case though. So kind of weird.
Maybe they didn't want to steal anything. Maybe they just were just like,
they had morals. They had morals back then.
Yeah, maybe they were just like, hey, we outnumber you. We're stronger. We have weapons.
And it does make sense.
Do what we say.
It does make sense because England tried to colonize Roanoke before these people showed up, and their leader, Ralph Lane, was the Roanoke's first true governor, and he killed the guy Wingina, who was the king of the local tribe. So you could say that the local natives hated the white people.
Right, they weren't big fans. Clearly, yeah. I mean, they when your leader gets killed by another leader, you don't tend to like those people.
Yeah, and when you really don't know what the white people are all about, and then all of a sudden they kill your leader, you're like, you know what? I think I hate these guys. You know, that's just kind of something that happens. You'd
be pretty upset. I mean, they just killed our king. I mean, That's a big situation.
That's a big thing to do. So then those England guys, Ralph Lane and all those guys, they pretty much killed the king and then cried for help, and Sir Francis Drake came and rescued those guys. And they're like, all right, we're not going to colonize this area.
Yeah, Sir Francis Drake, he was like the British Navy man, he was the big guy on campus.
Which, let me tell you, Sir Francis Drake, that's a baller name compared to name. John White. Like, come on, that's a huge difference.
John White, I mean, I definitely would be behind Sir Francis Drake.
Yeah, that sounds like a badass, and he was a badass.
Yeah, I mean, he rescued all those people. I mean,
right. Single-handedly.
I'd be pretty terrified if I was a native and I just saw like 5 giant boats coming towards me.
Yeah, and your leader just died. There's not a lot of things going on. So I wonder why they didn't want to stay. Maybe the area was bad, and obviously John White had some troubles with storms. And North Carolina is known for having storms. So maybe it just wasn't a great area in general.
Yes, and so I was also heard that there was a really bad drought in the area during the second expedition of Roanoke. So, I mean, obviously you can't plant a lot or
nothing's working out.
Water.
Yeah,
it's not a good area to really be.
And it was an attempt
in the 1580s.
Right, it was an attempt and a failure.
But so that leads us into the second theory here, which really is, I think, pretty much the same as the first theory. Anyways.
I like this one a little bit better. I think this is more likely.
I also think this is a little more, just because. Roanoke. So the theory is that the people of Roanoke, they decided to join the friendly tribe of the Croatoan people, because the Croatoan tribe wasn't the ones attacking them. It was the Roanoke tribe.
Right.
So the theory goes that the natives came and some theories are that they came and they killed off a bunch of the men and they took the women and the children and they assimilated them into the tribe, which makes a lot of sense of the historical period.
Yeah, kind of like prisoners of wars. We're gonna kill most of you, but we'll take some of you.
Right, take the women and the children.
But there was this guy named Manteo, and he was a good friend of John White, and he was a Native American from the Croatonian people.
Right. And he traveled to England. He was like, he knew how to speak English, and he was, very well educated and knew everything. He was a big part of the Roanoke people at the time.
And John White liked this guy so much, he declared him the chief of the Roanoke and Croatoan people, which
apparently you can do if you're John White.
I mean, when you're white back then, they just felt like they could do anything. Just
right.
I'm not a part of either one of these tribes, but hey, you're the leader now.
I mean, that's how it goes,
So Manteo, though, he kind of started to be the leader of both the groups, but the Roanokean people weren't really having it, so he could only control the Croatian people. So he moved back with his to Roanoke Island, and he was just in charge there. So the theory goes that kind of he took the people from Roanoke to move to Croatoan.
He sounds like a kind of a puss. I mean, he couldn't control these people. I mean, what was your job? Aren't you supposed to be able to control this situation? He kind of sucked at his own job that he was given.
Well, he probably walked in like he was some badass and was like, "Hey, I'm your leader now. John White told me so." And they probably just threw rocks at him, and they're like,
"Who the fuck is John White?" And
they just started
shooting arrows at him.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay.
It. He's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's probably more likely what happened there.
Right. He just put in his journal that I couldn't control. I fought off half of them and I tried to control them, but really he was just just one guy.
Yeah, he just said screw it,
pissed his pants, ran away.
So the big thing with this theory, though, is in 1888, the Croatonian people petitioned to Congress for aid, and they called themselves the Remnants of White's Lost Colony.
Which is really interesting because I mean, in 1888, would they really know anything about this?
I mean, maybe they had documents that they kept to themselves, possibly, or maybe.
But, I mean,
I think more than
petition to
likely,
Congress.
yeah, I think more than likely they were just trying to get some money to Congress, and they're like, "Hey, these people were white. Let's just say they're a part of us, so they could give us some funding." I think that's the more likely thing there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's 1888. I mean, do you think these people are really trying to pull a scam on the Congress? I mean, I feel like they could very well be just like the people who got assimilated into the tribe. They're just like, hey, I didn't realize we could get money from the government. Let's just, let's get some money because of our past,
Right. I mean, it makes sense. But so it was thought that there were traces of John White's blood in the Indian people, though, during the time due to them having gray eyes, some of them having gray eyes.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of the whole situation with the natives in Croatoa, there was the archaeologists in 2015. They found a bunch of like European items in the Croatoan Island, or so Hatteras Island is what it's called now.
Mm-hmm.
But so what they found a few objects, a few aglets. If you've watched Phineas and Ferb, that's the shoelace, the tip of it, of course. They found a few of those. They found the hilt of a sword of a rich Englishman, which I feel like John White would have taken all of the rich English back to, because I mean that's who gets the food and money and power.
Right, that would make the most sense. But they might have had some like it's probably not that he had like they all had one
He's like,
sword.
Take my sword.
Yeah, like this is an honorable thing to do.
I'm not gonna need it when I go back to
You're
England.
probably gonna die by all these natives, so here you go.
I'm going back to comfy England.
Yeah.
You're gonna go die. Here's my sword to remember me by. Yeah, but so they found all these items, but the catch is that all the objects dated to 100 years after the disappearance, so it doesn't add up.
Yeah, none of that adds up. So then we're stuck with both these theories are kind of, in a way, debunked to it not being plausible, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you find these objects that are over 100 years after the disappearance of the people, then they didn't belong to them. It was probably just another group of settlers.
Yeah, they probably just were like, oh, it's a coincidence.
Right, they just were like, oh, maybe, but no. It was thrown out.
And this is where we get into the theories that are the most probable, in my opinion. So there's potential of there being a mass abduction by aliens here. How believable do you think that one is?
Do you think it flew in from space and just quickly picked them up and then dipped? Or do you think they were just like watching and they knew about them?
I don't think it was a one-night hookup. They might have wined and dined them a little bit and flew in and then was like, oh, look, we have pretty lights and then you should come with us. And they're like, you know what? I'm hungry. There's a drought going on. Sure, I'll go with you.
Do you think the alien food is really appetizing looking?
If they're smart enough to go to our planet and everything, I guarantee they could make that food look like the most appetizing thing ever. Yes.
You do think they need food?
Yeah, they eat the food through their buttholes, I've heard.
Is it like the squid arms? Like an alien squid arm is what they eat?
No, I believe you're being racist to aliens.
Oh,
I think they're more attractive than just little, yeah.
I apologize to all the aliens listening right now.
But aliens, far-fetched, I believe. I'm not a big alien guy myself, so...
I think that in most people who claim they were abducted by aliens, they usually come back. Aliens don't want a human for a long period. They're like, why would we
but maybe the Roanokean people were cool, though.
I don't think they were. I mean, if the natives hated them, I mean...
Yeah, but the natives, I feel like they just hated everyone, though.
I feel like the natives were just pissed off. They probably ran out of their drugs, and they're just like, just want to kill. They're just in a murder mode.
Just, you guys aren't supplying for us, so we're going to kill you.
We're going to kill you.
While the aliens are like, hey, we got extraterrestrial drugs and
but
we're a
that's
little
crazy.
bored taking it, so we want to see what the humans do with this.
Right. It's like when you're super druggy and then like you get a guy who's never done drugs. You're like, oh, this will.
Yeah, you
this
get
will be
all
a fun
excited. Yeah,
experience,
yeah,
right.
exactly. So okay, so now I'm starting to catch on to this mass abduction theory.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
It makes 100% sense now.
Exactly. Their bodies
It
weren't
just,
found there. It makes so much sense.
It was a interplanetary drug dealer alien who just
I like this theory.
stoned out of his mind. He pulled up and he's like, yo, you want to try some of this space kush?
Because he obviously knows English.
Well, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, that goes without
They
saying,
could
really.
speak whatever. I mean, have you seen Star Wars? They all spoke English.
Do you
except a
think
few of
do you
them.
think he had a hat like off to the side, had like 3 chains?
I think he was
saggy
wearing
pants.
I think he was wearing a Weed 420 t-shirt. He had a chain that was the marijuana leaf. And I think his eyes were super red. Because he was just so
he was
stoned.
Off of that extraterrestrial kush.
Extraterrestrial kush it hits different.
So here's a less fun theory here. We got the zombie plague,
Which is just absolutely 100% real. I believe this the most.
so plausible here. So Andre Freeman, everyone knows Andre Freeman. I shouldn't have to introduce him, but I will anyways. Andre Freeman is a researcher for the Zombie Research Society, which I didn't even know that there was a Zombie Research Society.
Oh, you mean the ZRS?
Yeah, I didn't know
of
about
course.
this. That's my bad. But he believed that a sudden zombie plague made sense because why not? Basically. Why
I
not?
mean, I mean, no one knows. So you could really throw at anything and it's discussed, at least.
But the big thing is if there was a zombie plague, wouldn't there be like blood splattered on the walls? There would be
Listen.
sign of struggle. Or did they all just one night they ate that extraterrestrial kush and then turned into zombies?
I think the extraterrestrial kush made them zombies.
This
and then-
isn't talked about. We have our own theory here.
And
now.
I think the stoner alien drug dealer, he was like, "Oh shit, I have all these zombies that I accidentally made," and then he just vaporized them all. And
yeah,
that's
he
why
was a
don't
little
know.
embarrassed by it. Yeah.
He's like, "I'm gonna be in trouble by the." I mean, I'm sure Mr. Freeman was like really upset that his zombies, like, he really wants it. He wants. The
I mean,
zombies.
obviously,
I
he's
mean,
a part of the.
He's part of big zombie.
Yeah, the ZRS.
The ZRS, of course. So I think he was upset that the alien stoner did this. But
He was pissed.
I mean, it's better to have the ZRS upset than you than the major alien governments.
That's
you know?
true. They're the major aliens, like child that they didn't really want, so they really
Right.
whatever. But the big catch with that is Lawrence Stagger. He was a Harvard archaeologist, which I don't trust archaeologists. I don't trust those people. Do you?
I don't trust if you go to Harvard.
I agree with that
Mark
too.
Zuckerberg.
Yep. You're
don't
already
trust
talking
him.
about shady people here. But he claims that he discovered evidence of a mass cannibalism on Roanoke because of this whole drought that went on there.
But I mean, again, if there was a bunch of cannibals, there'd be signs. I mean, cannibals don't eat the bones. They're
Well,
not the guy from the KFC commercial.
Here's the thing with that though. So John White's wife had that kid, right?
Right.
Kids kinda, now hear me out here, they kinda resemble chicken in a way. So if you just cook the thing up, maybe it tastes like chicken.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd still see the bone. You don't eat the chicken bones.
Yeah, but that's true. But have you ever been starving enough to eat a child? Like, you're kind of desperate. I think you just nibble at the bones anyways.
But if you ate, what? But
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, actually.
Be left?
So maybe they were eating each other, blah, 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 blah. But they're embarrassed because obviously cannibalism's like a major sin back then. I mean, it still is today. But
Yeah, I mean,
so maybe they were just embarrassed and so they threw the bones into the ocean. Look, no signs of struggle. Boom, 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 boom.
yeah, but I mean, again, wouldn't someone be left alive if everyone was? Did the last person just eat himself completely?
Yeah,
Or
I think
herself?
you start with a leg. Obviously, that's what you're like. All right, I'm
I
the
mean,
last.
you have 114 other people you have to eat. I mean, that's a lot of food.
That is a lot of food, but is it 3 years worth of food?
Yeah, I'd say so. 114 other people?
I think so. It'd probably be so. It was 115 people, and then they all probably ganged up on one person, and then ganged up, and then kept doing that slowly until they all started dying off. And then I think that once it trickled down to like 20 people, they all kind of like looked at each other with those finger guns and like back
And
away.
they were in a Mexican standoff.
A little Mexican standoff, and then they kind of went into their own little houses, and then they all had like a secret society, and then slowly ate those people away. And then there was just Paul. Paul was the last one, and then he just resorted
Was
to eating
Paul
himself.
the intergalactic alien stoner?
No,
Oh,
no,
I thought that was Paul.
no. They probably just had like visions of an alien, maybe,
Maybe just because they were so hungry.
and they were eating humans, which probably have a bad rep
Yeah.
on your psyche there.
No, it definitely infects your brain with some bad stuff.
Just a little bit, I would say.
I mean, it's likely. It's likely that any of this could be real.
And that's the thing, is it's just a major mystery. But I mean, we're talking literally before the United States was even a thing. Like
This was hundreds of years ago.
I think if we're talking the most likely, I do think that they probably just joined in with the Croatoan Islands people, and they kind of just merged, and then just because 3 years is a long time to be gone, like
Right,
a lot of
especially with
crap can
no
happen.
food. No food, no water, no weapons.
Yeah, you get
no
desperate,
nothing.
so they probably just raised the white flag, and then the alien was like, "Oh shit, white flag! Let's fucking smoke some extraterrestrial kush."
He rolled that. He rolled the white flag and the extraterrestrial
It was
kush
a
inside.
huge blunt.
Yeah. But he has a shrink ray, so he could make it normal size for them.
Oh, you think he's that generous? Like he thought about this?
I think he's a generous intergalactic alien.
Yeah, he could be. He could be a nice guy, I think.
All right, so that's pretty much the whole Roanoke conspiracy theory disappearance situation.
Still
there.
a mystery. Still
You
a
never
mystery.
know. We'll never know. That's really the situation here. It's just let it be a mystery. No one will ever know.
Unless Paul, the weed alien, comes
He
back.
might come back, but I think he's in prison. I think they found out that he made the zombies and they were upset.
Yeah, they
So,
probably were pissed.
Yeah, but thanks everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for liking. We're on YouTube, Spotify. We'll be on Apple Podcasts very soon, hopefully. So
Yes,
so
thank
just,
you so much, everyone, for listening and liking and subscribing. Don't forget, share this with your family, share this with your friends. We
Listen,
deeply appreciate this.
Send this to everyone you know, and I'll give you something. I don't know what I'm gonna give you. I'll call up Paul.
More
the
than likely, it's
intergalactic
probably
alien.
herpes. He will probably give you herpes.
It might be herpes. I mean, I'll get Paul out of prison. I'll get him on the show, and I'll get him to give us everyone who listens and shares this to give you an intergalactic blunt. That's the promise.
Now I'm a little bit excited for this.
The intergalactic blunt. You just
We'll make this
share
happen.
this around.
We'll make this happen. So, yes, thank you, everyone. We're going to be releasing episodes weekly, so we look forward to your comments and everything. Keep them coming. We are on Facebook, Twitter, just any social media that you can think of at The World Within Podcast.
Yeah, we're working on the MySpace page next, I believe.
That's going to be probably our biggest hit, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, MySpace made that comeback. You remember that?
They did shortly, and then
everyone's
it
like,
died
"Why are
out.
we on MySpace?"
Yeah, I remember having a MySpace and having a dope ass Matrix background in the background and everything. It looked cool, man. It was cool.
Did you see the Matrix when you were on MySpace?
No, I didn't actually.
You just knew the.
I just knew that it looked cool.
That's something.
Actually,
An interesting story.
a funny story was MySpace. So our mom, didn't let us have a MySpace. So to keep it hidden, I think I was like maybe 8, 9, 10 years old. And I just looked up picture of a guy. Like I literally just typed in Google guy, and then I put that as my MySpace. Like the first picture is a MySpace profile picture. And I was getting hit up by these older women saying I'm attractive and everything. And I remember I panicked and I told my mom, I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Don't lie. We all know you put in hot guy. And
Hot dude.
It was just a ripped model.
I know I
with his
probably
t-shirt
did.
off.
But it worked out because she let me have a MySpace after that. She just,
Well, there you
as
go.
long as I
It's
use
just-
my own pictures.
It's better. It's, and did any of the older women hit you up on the real one?
No, I was honestly terrified of the older women at that time, I was young. I was young.
Were they sending you like messages?
No, I actually remember this girl sent me a picture, or maybe it was her profile picture. I don't really remember too much, but I remember it was like her in like a bra and panties sitting in a bathtub, and I was like, what the hell is this?
Oh my god. Wow, that's quite a story to end this.
It's a great way to end this, I think.
That's a great way.
So thank you everyone again. Catch us next week, and much love.
Yeah, see you next week, everyone.
Thank you for listening to The World Within.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do.
Join our Patreon, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and catch us next week. Thank you.